basically, that's the presentation today. So today was the 29th of May. Okay, so it's 1 o'clock in Paris and 4:30 in Mumbai and Delhi. Okay, so of course we're very happy as usual to see more Indian students. Okay. We'll see, by the way, why it is critical for Indian students more than any other, because the GMAT is key. And why 700 is a good score, but it would still be better.
It has to be 740, 750.
Yeah. But it depends on the school. It depends on the school. See, yesterday I had a guy accepted to INSEAD with a 710. And he was from Bangladesh, by the way.
So even I know a couple of folks who got NCR MIM with only a 690. So I think a lot of.
But for the MIF, you have to be. So myself, I run MBA Center. I'm an Harvard graduate, and I scored 800 on the GMAT. Aryan is the founder of and director of GMAT Buddy, a partner of MBA Center. He's an active member, and Aryan basically is targeting a top MIF. So he wants to do a master in finance. Okay, he doesn't want to do an MIM because he wants to work into as an M&A analyst, and he doesn't need to do for an MIM. Anyway, we're going to talk about this as well, and we are going to mention the GMAT and also your plans, so that people understand that that's something that you have to prepare long in advance, and we have not prepared. But we are doing well, but we could prepare probably differently. Okay. Basically, after that, yes, we'll contact you because MBA Center can help you. Can help you prepare all this. So Itika has a team. She has a team. There's Itika, Ishika, Anmol, Anushka, Surya. So we have a team of 5 people now in India who follow students. Okay. You can always, of course, write to me, and you can send me an SMS, WhatsApp here. I have WhatsApp and something for Itika. So basically, to go back. So basically, but Aryan, can you please tell me who you are? Okay. Can you be a bit louder? It's okay. Can you hear me well? Okay. So basically, but who are you, Aryan? So what is your background, roughly?
So my background, so basically, I'm pursuing my undergrad studies, and I'm majoring in finance from St. Xavier's College, Mumbai. I've just progressed into my 3rd year of university here in India, and I want to get into the investment banking industry right after my MIF. So I'm targeting schools like HEC Paris, LBS, LSE, and other top-notch B schools to supplement my studies. In my GMAT and my profile, I also launched GMAT Buddy in collaboration with MBA Center, and Dr. Hubert and MBA Center has Dr. Hubert and MBA Center, has had an impeccable impact on my life overall. So I'm really thankful, and a lot of you guys can benefit. You guys can contact me, Dr. Hubert, Hitika, anyone. Be it your GMAT prep, be it admissions consulting, or anything in general.
Okay. So basically, so to tell you what happened is that Aryan came to see me, and he had worked with a lot of different materials. I don't know what he used usually. So usually people use official guides, okay? And they usually buy the 6 tests that come up with the official guide. That way. So they have, in terms of official guide, you have 1 official guide and you have 2 specific sections. There's also, so there is a general guide, and there's also 1 on math only and 1 on verbal only, okay? Usually that's what people do, and usually they buy 6 tests. And it's very rare that it's enough, okay? And that's probably what Aryan did, because of course, practicing with real question is something that you have to do, but it's not enough to learn, okay? So you have to develop skills, specific competencies, and of course you can develop them, but sometimes you need to use a different type of material, okay? So of course the problem that you have with the official material is that questions are too easy. So now the author of the GMAT, they have created a guide with difficult questions, okay? Even though these questions are of course more difficult than the official guide, but they are not that difficult enough, and at the same time there are too few of them. You need to have at least 1,500 difficult questions to really take advantage of the training, okay? And the number of questions that they have is something like 200 or 300, so it's not enough, okay? Alors, basically, the problem that we have with Aryan. So what is the problem that we have with the GMAT, Aryan? It's directly linked to the program that you are
Sorry?
targeting.
Sorry,
So
sorry.
what is the issue that we have? So why do we need a very high GMAT? So there are many reasons why we need a GMAT. So what are they?
Yeah. So when it comes to Indians, the first thing that I would like to point out is that we as Indians have got very limited exposure overseas. I mean, I'm blessed enough to have played a lot of cricket overseas, but obviously when it comes to B school or masters admissions, playing sport doesn't play a part. So apart from a very strong GMAT of let's say 730, 740, you guys really need overseas experience in the form of volunteering, internship, summer school, and so on.
Yeah. So basically, the first thing that I want to say, it's true what you say, Aryan, but usually students who come to see us, a bit like Aryan, who came to meet me in April, one that we have is that, of course, if you do it long in advance, you could improve your profile. So for instance, Aryan put me in contact with people from St. Xavier College who are 19. So of course, then we can improve the profile. So what can you improve in the profile when you're based in India? Okay. Because the problem that you have when you're in India is that the geography is as such that you have Pakistan where it is difficult to travel, and you have Bangladesh where there's not much to do when you're from India. There's not much to do in Bangladesh. Okay, then you have Nepal. It's already a big country, and so usually people the places where Indians have been maybe can be Sri Lanka for vacations, okay, or maybe Dubai. For vacation, okay? But when you go like 1 week with your family in Ceylon, Sri Lanka, and 1 week with your family in Dubai, okay, it's not too bad, but I cannot say it's a huge international exposure, okay? It's not enough. Of course, when you compare yourself to Europeans, it's a different story because what we call a country in Europe is a state in India. You see? Because at the same time, as you know, India is a federation of states in reality. Me, for instance, I'm based in Belgium. But if I take the train after 30 minutes, I'm in France. If I go west east after 1 hour and a half, I'm in Germany. If I go north after 30 minutes, I'm in the Netherlands. And if I go like west, southwest, I would be by train. I'm talking not even a plane. By train, I would be in London. Okay.
Yeah.
So it means that of course for European, the international is easy, and at the same time we have a program called Erasmus program. Okay, where you can have an exchange program abroad. So it means that any European has spent 1 year abroad. Okay, what does it mean to have spent 1 year abroad when you live in small countries? Okay, you have to see that some countries in Europe are like are big cities like Luxembourg. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's can you really call that a country? Okay, when you compare to India, doesn't make much sense. But still, so basically you have to improve your professional experience, your international profile. What can you do to improve the profile internationally? But basically, you can do that through summer schools. That's what we have done with Aryan. That's the way I met you the first time. It was to write the personal statement for the summer school. So summer school, you can spend 2 to 3 weeks abroad. It puts a big name on your resume when you have HEC, LSE. You have been accepted to what? You have been accepted to Oxford? Why have you been accepted for summer
I got
school?
accepted to Oxford, and that's what I wanted to mention. That Dr. Hubert's support with the essay, I was able to get a INR 1 lakh rupee scholarship for my Oxford summer program on fintech and cryptocurrency.
Yeah. So you got 20% scholarship, which is not bad. So basically, it's a way for you to internationalize your profile.
Yeah.
Then you see you can work as consultants. You have platforms like Upwork, like many things where maybe that's what Aryan is doing now. And Aryan is working with MBA Center. He works with of course with the India team, but he also works with the office in Lebanon. So he can already say my boss is French when he's in Europe. I work with the Lebanese office. So already it makes him international. So you can find like consulting missions that are international. Okay. And at the same time to have centers of interest. Imagine if you say I like Italian movies, Japanese mangas, I don't know, Chinese something. Okay. I love surfing and interested in, so you can have like a personal interest. Doesn't mean you can be international without having being abroad too much. And we Europeans or we Americans we understand very well that living in India it's difficult to, you need visas, it's very expensive to travel all the time. Okay, so that's the first thing that I say. Then in terms of degree or program, you have to understand that we in Europe or in the US, we don't know much about Indian education. Okay, so we know that you have IITs, so the Indian Institute of Technology, we have ISBs and IIMs. Okay, but usually people they go for postgraduate programs in IIMs or in ISBs. Okay, basically they know IITs. Okay, so they know that the one in Bangalore is the best one, etc. So basically, Indian education is not super well known for the time being. Okay, I've seen, for instance, in rankings, you're still a bit behind, which is, by the way, strange because I know that it is very difficult to get ISB or IIM. Okay, but that's the way it is, and I think it's due to the fact that salaries after these degrees are quite low. So when you compete against American programs or European programs, since salaries are still low, it makes Indian programs low in the ranking, and that's why, for instance, National University of Singapore is #1 because, of course, in Singapore, as you know, salaries are very high. Okay, so you can improve. So you can improve that. Also, summer schools again, and at the same time, you know that you have a lot of certificate programs. I'm sure that you have heard about that. Yale has an online certificate program, MIT certificate program, etc. So you have to basically follow one of those. Okay, so that way you can put I don't know, Saint Xavier, but Yale, I don't know, Yale FinTech program, MIT decision making program. Yeah.
Okay.
Which one do you recommend, for instance, Aryan? Which one do you recommend that are easy and inexpensive and that stands out on your resume?
Yeah, so I would say Wharton has got a really good program on alternative investments, cryptocurrencies. Same with HBS Online, Harvard Business School Online.
Yeah.
You know, it has also got a lot of programs, and those programs are not just constrained to finance domain, but also to digital marketing, big data analytics, business analytics, programming language. So everything is covered. So, folks around can go and probably, search on their website and, enroll in a course of their, own choice.
Okay. So that's the second way you can improve your profile. Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, yeah.
That's the second way to improve your profile. Then professional experience. Yeah. Okay, so you need to have professional experience and you need to have variety. Okay, for instance, what Aryan is doing is good because he's an entrepreneur, he has worked in finance, so they like variety, and of course they like to have big names. So of course you can put Ernst & Young or KPMG or such schools. It's a big plus. Okay, so that's the way. And finally, through volunteering activities. So basically, when they read your CV. They want to see a lot of things. Okay, so they want to see good grades. They want to see volunteering experience. They want to see already a lot of internships. They want to see international exposure. So basically, it's true that from the resume you can already say a lot. Okay, then the second part where we're coming now to the GMAT is the application itself. Okay, so as you know, the 3 ways to improve the application is through the interviews, through the essays, and through the GMAT. Okay, and the GMAT is the most important part of the application. Okay, no matter what you hear in top programs, it's the most important part. I give you an example. Okay, of the 4 same students who one day in Paris came to join MBA Center, for instance, in September. Okay, 4 came the same day. Okay, remember. So one is Emma. So Emma, for instance, she got 720, and she got all the schools she applied to. She got St. Gallen, she got HEC, she got LBS. Okay. Then the 3 others got only 650. Okay. They got only one school. So one got ESADE SEMS. Okay. So she will study year 1 ESADE, year 2 HEC. Well, not too bad, but it's only ESADE, which is not the best. It's a good one, but it's not outstanding. The other one got ESSEC. Okay, cool. And the last one, she got Bocconi with a scholarship. Okay,
yeah.
So it means that already, even with the 650, it's already today not enough. The people who, for instance, who got 650, the 3 got rejected from LBS. They got an interview, but they got rejected. Of course, so that's essential. So really, a good GMAT is essential. Okay, more than anything, more than the essays. So I would say the profile and the GMAT, and of course the interview. Okay.
Yeah.
So when we came to with Aryan, so he came to me and he said to me, I create my company. I have 2 internships. Okay. So I have 1 month to prepare the GMAT because after that, I want to focus on my internships on my company. Okay. And I said to Aryan, 1 month, it's very little. Of course, he had work on his own, but his score was far from 700. And so what I've noticed working with him, I've noticed that basically there were 3 problems, and you all have these problems. So you have a look at the GMAT, and you don't know what is important and what is not important in the rules that you have to know. Of course, there are things that are super important, and there are things that are not. For instance, if you have a look at the official GMAT review at the math program, I don't know, there will be a section on geometry where they will question you on coordinate geometry. I've rarely seen questions about coordinate geometry. I've never seen question about function. It's very rare. Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, but of course, number property is a big chapter of the GMAT. So basically, you have to know. You have to say, okay, that's what is really important to know. This thing is not really important to know. So you have to focus. Of course, you have to know everything, but you have to focus on what is really important for the GMAT. Okay, you agree, Aryan? Okay, can you share some experience with us where you are focusing on things that are not really important on the GMAT? Tell me, share your experience with that.
Yeah, so when it comes to the GMAT, see, I'll straight away jump to the verbal section of the GMAT, okay? Because here in India, the quant part and the integrated reasoning part is something that all us, all the Indians are able to, ace. But when it comes to the verbal section, that's where that verbal section acts as the real deal breaker or the deal maker for you. I mean, for us Indians, because the GMAT, if you look at the quantitative section, we are very well prepared. Like throughout our schooling, throughout our college, we are very well prepared to tackle the quantitative section. So the only advice from my end would be to focus more on the verbal part of the GMAT when it comes to Indian students. Yeah.
Okay, so of course they are right. So first, focus on what is essential. Okay, so
Yeah.
in the section. So for instance, I give you an example, mentioning for instance the verbal section. As you know, in the verbal, there is a section called sentence correction. Okay.
Yeah.
So, of course, can you imagine? So sentence correction is supposed to test 4 things in English. It's supposed to test your knowledge of idioms, your knowledge of grammar, your mastery of meaning issues, and concision, your ability to write concisely. Okay. So imagine that it covers. So the only thing that is not tested is spelling, but everything is spelled. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, of course, you have to say, but what is really important on the GMAT? Of course, but you have to say, okay, probably there are five things that are really important to master. You have to understand what is a modifier, okay? Because the sentence structure is something very important, okay? But punctuation is not very important on the GMAT, for instance, okay?
Yeah.
So I have to understand what is a modifier. I have to master pronouns, because pronouns it's a big thing on the GMAT.
Yeah.
I have to master verb tense, but not so much the indicative, but more like the mandative, subjunctive, and the conditional. I have to master, so what they say, verbs. I have to master modifiers, okay? I have to master pronoun issues, and I have to understand very well the construction of a sentence, how a sentence is developed. And believe me, if you already mastered these 4 concepts, you will do very well on the GMAT, okay? So don't try to understand thousands of grammar rules. You have to say, okay, I have to understand what it is about, concision, grammar, meaning, and idioms, okay? And when we mention about idioms, you have to say, okay, that's the 20, 30 very important idioms on the GMAT, okay? So that's the survival kit. So that's something very important. Don't be inundated by knowledge. You don't need that much knowledge, okay? And I remember that when I was working with Aryan, he was mentioning many books, many things, and I said, look, focus on one or two books, work on it, and of course we have used a lot of my work. Okay, so basically, Calvin asked a question. Calvin Gasto. So Calvin, yes, there's an advanced, it's called Advanced GMAT question by the GMAC. Okay, you can find it on the website called mba.com. Okay, that's the question with difficult questions. Okay, that we use with Aryan. Okay, and then the other question is that yes, analytical writing and integrated reasoning. How does it work? Is it part of the GMAT, Aryan? Can you explain how it works when you get a score report?
See, when it comes to the analytical writing part, back when I took my first attempt, they had waived off AWA. So I cannot really explain about the impact of AWA, but yes, definitely IR plays a part, because in most of the top universities, IR means integrated reasoning, by the way. So IR is on 8. So most of the top universities want you to at least have a 5 on the integrated reasoning section. I scored a 7, by the way, on the IR section. AWA
which is not enough. Yeah, you can still improve that. Yeah.
Yeah. I can take it to probably 8 on 8 the next time. Yeah.
Okay. So basically, the GMAT is made of a score between 200 and 800, and of course the analytical and IR questions are. So when Aryan took the test, he took it at home. So the AWA was not part of the thing. Now, if you take it at home, there's an AWA test. So basically, the analytical writing and integrated reasoning scores are reported on your GMAT scoring. If you take it now, no matter where you take it, well, it's part of the deal. It's part of the deal. You agree? So is it important? Alors, for Aryan, if he applies, for instance, for Master in Finance in Europe, not important. Okay, don't try to get very bad grades. Okay, so on the for instance, on the analytical writing assessment, it's between 0 and 5. 4.5 is enough. Okay. On integrated reasoning, well, it goes up to 8, 7, 7.5 is probably enough. Okay.
And you said that's not enough.
No, but it's not there because I want you to be perfect. You deserve more. But of course, if he wants to study now in the US, because we're also targeting MIT.
Yeah.
We need something more than that. I would say, to sum up, in Europe, not very important. Okay, in the US, important, especially in top MBAs, because basically it's Harvard, Wharton, Stanford who have asked the influential members of the company that runs the GMAT is called the GMAC. They have a board members, and you imagine that the influential board members of the board are LBS, INSEAD, Wharton, Stanford, Chicago, and T schools. So if you apply to T schools, you can be sure that they have asked for integrated reasoning, for instance, in 2012. So they will ask for it. Okay. Now HEC, that is not part of the board, they didn't ask for integrated reasoning. They were somehow imposed. Okay. Yeah. By the way, there's also another issue that we have with tests is that it's becoming too much. When I took the GMAT the first time, there was only the GMAT. There was no AWA. There was no integrated reasoning. Okay. They put the AWA in I think in 1997. Okay, so between 1958 and 1997 there was no AWA. Yeah. And then it took another 15 years before they put integrated reasoning. Okay, so it makes the test longer. Okay. Yeah, it's called GMAT Advanced Question. Kevin. Yeah. So GMAT Advanced Question, it is published by the GMAC, it's MBA.com. Okay. Anyway, if you're a student of MBA Center, we'll give you these books for free. So what else can I say? That's the first thing. So the first thing is to see what is important and what is not important. And I saw that Aryan was not focused enough on what is important and what is not. Okay. Well, that's the first thing. So what do I need to know? And sometimes there's already too much. Okay. Second thing that you need to develop that I saw that Aryan had that was necessary to get a 700 is that you need to have an approach. You need to have a method. Okay. And most people, well, they gamble a bit. Okay. No, you need to have a systematic approach on the question, and that's what was missing. So what have you done to improve your method, your approach on questions, so to be faster, to understand faster, to know what has to be done, to tackle. What have you done? What have you developed?
Basically, the first advice to everyone out here who's on verge of taking the GMAT or is planning to take the GMAT is to, practice from day one with a timer. Because on the GMAT, the GMAT is not all about knowledge. It's about strategies, okay? Because see, on the verbal section, or rather on the quantitative section, you've got 31 questions and you get exactly 62 minutes to answer the question. So the equation is pretty simple, 2 minutes to one question. But moving on to the verbal section, it gets tougher because on the verbal section, you'll have 36 questions and only 65 minutes to answer those questions. So strategy plays an important part. And, the best strategy I would say that helped me to reach a 700 on my very first attempt was time management. So, you need to start practicing with a timer if you haven't already. Yeah.
Okay. So that's an important thing. And I will add something else. It's true that me, for instance, when students come to class, I ask them to do the question in a time manner, and it is important because if you take a GMAT question and you do the GMAT question in 5 minutes, then you will not develop the skills that are necessary to be a good GMAT test taker. Okay, it's like if you say you want to run a 400 meters and you say I do it in 5 minutes. But if you run 500 meters in 5 minutes, it is no longer a 400 meters. It is like walking. It has nothing to do with running. Okay. Bon. So basically, that's the first thing. The second thing that I will say is that I work with many institutes in the world. We work with about 20, and I'm very surprised. I meet the guys. And they tell me, I want to apply for INSEAD in 3 weeks. I say, whoa, like say in 1 month. I say, wow, okay. And what is your GMAT score? Oh, no, I plan to take my first GMAT test in 1 week. And I will take the GMAT the week after. I say, wow, but how many tests will you do? 2? Yes, and just, okay, no. You need to, me, for instance, I had a class. My students, after the first class, they have to do a test. After each class, they have to do a test. Okay? Today, we studied critical reasoning. It's okay. They will score low. And it's good. They will score 500. Okay? And they will feel so low that they will work even harder. Okay? Because what's the point of coming to class? Me, when I teach you something, I know why it is useful. Okay? Sometimes someone comes to my class and they say, oh, I don't like his class, whatever. And then they say, oh, I'm going to use MBA Center for the application services, but I'm going to work with company XZY. And then after that, they come back with a 600, like Aryan when he joined me. Okay, I say, look, we know what is important. We know what is not important. So I'm going to teach you what it gets to get a good score. Okay?
Yeah.
Bon. Yeah. So basically, time manner. Okay, time yourself. Okay, you have about 2 minutes per question. You don't have to spend 2 minutes. You can spend 3 minutes to start with. Okay, you have to say, okay, maybe I spend 2 minutes, 2 minutes and a half, but time yourself. Okay, so and you time yourself. You say, I don't know, 50 questions, and 20 I could not answer in less than 3 minutes. I come back to it and I spend much time because I have to learn. Okay,
yeah.
Bon. Okay. Second of all, second thing is that yes, you have to take a lot of tests, even if it's the beginning. You have to see a level from the beginning. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. For instance, I don't know what it is in cricket, but if you mention soccer or if you mention tennis, okay, but you see when the national teams they practice in the morning and in the afternoon they always do a match. Always a match. Okay.
Yeah.
And when you ask the pros, why do you do a match? You're a pro. You know well. He will say. He will do a match. He will say, but yes, because it's only by practicing that I really learn. I'm sure that Aryan could say, when I was playing cricket, okay, yes, it's good to practice, but the best way to really improve was through matches. You agree?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
because that's the way you really improve. So I would say that one test is worth 15 hours of practice. Okay, so take the test as a way to practice, to improve, because basically you take the GMAT, you don't take how to practice on the GMAT, you take the GMAT, so that's the GMAT that you have to improve. You understand? Huh? Okay. So it's very important what you say. You have to time yourself. Okay.
Yeah.
And you can say each time you answer, you say I answered this question in 1 minute 30 seconds. Anyway, there are many softwares that give you the time that you took to answer. Okay.
Yeah. For example,
Anyway.
GMAT Club is a very good platform because there you get all the questions and there is a timer where you could read the question and simultaneously answer.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's called GMAT Club. Yeah. It's very good. It's very, very good.
So basically, that's it. Huh? Okay. Sorry.
Questions, I believe a couple of folks have.
Yeah, there are many questions. Okay. Alors, how long does it take to score 800? I'm going to tell you my story. The first time I took the GMAT, I scored less than Aryan. By the way, I scored 670, I believe. So I scored 670. Then I took it the second time. I scored 740. And then I didn't need the GMAT because I applied for a PhD program. Okay, I needed a GRE. Okay, but I wanted to take all the tests to see. But finally, they told me that it's good to have a 740 on the GMAT, but I had to take a GRE, and I scored roughly the same as 740, and I went to Harvard. And then after that, when the test became computerized in 1997, I had my own class at Harvard, so I was teaching the GMAT. It was my own institute. Let's call it like it's like GMAT buddy of Aryan. It was a program with friends. We were teaching students on weekends. Okay, and we were teaching mainly the low school admission tests, LSAT and the GRE. No, few GMAT. The LSAT, the MCAT, all these tests are more popular in America than the GMAT is. And then I wrote a book, my first GMAT book, with a friend of mine. So we wrote a book. It was for the computerized GMAT. So we made the software, okay, and then we wrote a book. And it was the first one on the market. It was during the summer 1997, okay. And then what I did, I said to my friend, but let's take the GMAT to see if what we explain really works. And we both got 800, by the way. His name is Jonathan. He went to Harvard. I was at Harvard, and he was my assistant at that time. And he got 800, and then he did his PhD at MIT, and then his laboratory left to Stanford, and now he's a professor at NYU in psychology. Okay, so we all got good schools, huh? Harvard and in MIT, and
then you took the GMAT and then you took the GMAT.
After that, I took it several times, yeah, to see what it is. But there was a rule, there was a rule up to last year where you cannot take the GMAT more than 7 times in your life. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So after that, I have not taken it because I've taken the GMAT 7 times in my life. But now they have put a new rule that if you're an educator, you're allowed to take it more than 7 times, because sometimes they found out that people were cheating. Probably sometimes there were people cheating. Because you can cheat with the GMAT. You can. There are things to do. You don't have to explain to you how it works. But in Russia, for instance, there are no many Russians. People cheat a lot. Okay.
Yeah.
Well. So what else? So what else do we have? We have something like this. Okay. So that's what we have. That's what we did. Okay.
There's another question where this guy called.
So basically, and after that, yes. But now I find that the GMAT is easy, and even when I score with when I work with students who scored 740, 750, I find that their level is weak. Huh? So now, of course, I've reached a level where even for me, 750 is still a weak level. Huh? But it's normal. You beginners. You beginners. Even 740 is not super impressive. It's quite weak. Huh? So basically, if you master the GMAT well, you do 770, 780. That's the. If someone was work on the test well, score this type of thing. Okay, means if you have the knowledge, if you have your practice. So knowing about tests, I suggest to do at least 30 tests, for instance. I suggest that you work hard, you work on difficult questions, and then you do 1 question per day for 1 month, 1 test per day for 1 month. When I see students who do like 6 tests, no, 6 tests is not enough. I did many more than 6 tests, of course, because it's like practicing. Someone you think that Djokovic he practiced more than the others. Nadal, he practiced more than the others. That's why he's so much better. You know, last time I have a friend who was talking of Federer. You know how many rackets Federer breaks a year. Rackets, okay, 600. I don't know how you do to break 600. So he practiced so much and he hits so hard that he breaks 600 rackets per, not this year because he got injured, 600. It's incredible. 600, okay? So it means that because he plays more than the others and he plays very hard to break rackets, his rackets. You understand? So that's, you were a cricket champion, an aspirant champion, Aryan, so you know what it is. The best one, they're the best because they've practiced harder than the other. 30 tests, it's normal to do 30 tests. Okay?
You know, one thing that I can tell from my personal experience is that, you know, sitting at home and studying is a lot easier than, you know, sweating it out, you know, outside and, you know, practicing cricket or any sport. So, you know, you guys are blessed that you people are studying. So, you know, you guys need to cap. You guys need to cap it.
I don't want to come to that, but of course, a career as a sportsman is much more difficult than a career as a well, maybe when you're investment banker, the problem is that it's long hours. Huh? You have to accept long hours. And when you wake up at 7 o'clock and you come back at 3 o'clock at home and you only do that, it's a burden as well. Huh? Okay. Well, but of course, if you go for a master's, you have a good life. I'm not saying that life will be easy, but of course, it's much more difficult than becoming a CEO of a company and having to pay bills and salaries. I would say that if you go to a good school, LBS, MIT, ISB, you'll have a good life, you will work hard, but you know that you will have money, that you'll have an interesting job. But that's why so many people go for these schools, because it's a guarantee of a comfortable and interesting life. That's it. Okay. So let's answer the question. New strategy to handle reading comprehension question. I guess what do you do when you don't understand? It happens. It happens to me. Okay, so it happened. Okay, now a bit less, but there are sometimes some sections where you don't understand very well. So what do you do, Aryan? When there's something, there's a whole passage that you don't understand.
Well, if you know, I have been in this situation where, you know, I was completely blank. Okay. When it comes, you know. And especially on the RC section of the GMAT. So, you know, back then the only way out was to just make a guess and move on, because you cannot tend to waste a lot of time on that one particular question, right? So that's what I did.
Okay. So basically it happens that sometimes you don't understand. So of course, if you have not understood anything, you're not going to score perfect on the text, for sure. Okay. So, but what can you do? Maybe there will be, let's say, 4 questions. There's a question about the general meaning. So maybe you can find this question, and there may be a question about a specific part of the passage where you can answer. So at least try to get 2 out of 4 right. Okay. But as you know, what I want to tell you, sometimes it happens that we don't understand the passage very well. But the most difficult is to answer the question. Okay, so what is confusing is the answer choice more than the passage. Okay, exactly. And then it happens. It happens a lot of time where you have something about a theory. Okay, and you don't understand much about the theory, but if you understand just a little, then the questions are not difficult because the passage is so difficult that that you can do quite a lot. So the questions can also help you. So basically. That's what I would say. If you have a difficult passage, in general, the questions are easier. Okay, you can at least answer the main ID question and at least one detailed question. Okay, and anyway, focus more on the answer choice than you focus more than on the answer choice than anything. Okay.
And all the answers are very similar. You know, when you look at the options, when it comes to the RC section specifically, all the answer choices are pretty close to each other. So it becomes, you know, it leads you to a really perplexed state of mind where, you know, where you're confused. So that is something which used to happen with me. It still happens with me.
Okay. So basically, focus on the answer choice. If you don't answer the passage, focus on the answer choice. They can help you, and sometimes difficult passage, easy questions. Okay.
Yeah.
The worst thing is to have an easy passage and to have difficult questions. I fear more an easy passage. For instance, when I take the GMAT and I see the passage is not very difficult, I know that the questions are going to be super difficult. So it's better to have a difficult passage. Anyway, they know that you cannot remember much, an easier question than the contrary. Okay, because you get tricked from the answer choice. Okay.
Yeah.
Basically, my experience, how much weight does GMAT carry, components? So how much weight according to you? So of course it's difficult to say. It's more like we're going to say there's more like a sort of correlation between the GMAT and acceptance rate. So what would you say, Aryan? So Aryan, you knew, but you know that you need a good GMAT. Huh? Okay,
Yeah.
and 700 is not enough.
Yeah, especially for MIF, it is not enough.
No.
One needs to take it to 740, 750, considering he or she is an Indian applicant.
Especially. Now you have to see that there is a bit some miss, okay, with Indian applicants that you have to tell you is that what you have to see is that if you apply for MBA, it's true that it's a disadvantage to be Indian because there are too many MBA Indian applicants, and it is due to the fact that IIM and ISB are very selective. So many people, they want to go MBA, they don't get ISB IIM, or they don't even try. So and then they go and they have a bad cat, etc. So they go for, that's why you have so many. For instance, I was surprised this year to have students who have scored 640 on the GMAT, and we did not get accepted. We didn't get accepted in any Canadian MBA, but in any, even the number 20. Okay, why? Because they already had the guy they applied in March, April, and they already had so many Indians that it was impossible. Okay, for masters, it is the same as for French students, so it's not easy. But for instance, we have the example of Palaksh Jen, who is 640, got ESCP, ESSEC, and he got an interview with Imperial and LBS with a 640. I have French students who did not even get an interview with a 650. Okay, so we say that for Indians, for masters, it's workable. Okay, if you get a 650, you can get, let's say, normally you can get, if you apply early enough, Imperial, ESADE, ESCP, Bocconi, if you apply round 1, which are good schools. Okay, HEC, forget it, of course. ESSEC, very unlikely. For instance, me, I research and I work for ESSEC. When I talk to my colleagues, sometimes I try to push my students. Okay, so I push them well for the SMID. If you want for the SMID, I can push you. And when I talk to them, they say, "Oh, I have an Indian student." They say, "You better stop. We have so many Indian students applying. Okay, we have so many. Okay." So they always say they have so many applicants. For instance, big European and American programs, they are hungry for South American students. If you're from Peru, from Argentina, from Brazil, they need these people because they don't have many. But of course, what happened with India is India now is a middle-class country. So now you have the middle class, and they send their kid abroad. And since in India, families have 2 to 3 kids, but it makes a lot. Huh? You have to understand that. So basically, it's a big thing. India is the biggest international education market in the world, more than China. Okay, and because of the Indian universities that are probably a bit too selective. Okay, so basically, so what is the correlation? The higher the GMAT, the higher your chance of getting in. You see, it's not like if you get a bad GMAT, you don't get in. If you get a good GMAT, you get in. But to give you an example, the average acceptance rate at HEC is 10%. And if you have 780, the acceptance rate will be 80%. If you have a 650, the acceptance rate will be 2%.
Yeah.
Voilà. Okay, that's it. So okay, what else you want me to tell you? Multiply by 45, by 40, 45. Okay, so the higher the better. Okay, that's and there is no limit. If you can have a 790, it's even better. There's no limit. The higher the GMAT, the more you increase your chance of getting in. It's very simple. Okay, so and that's why in terms of timing, it's preferable to apply in January with a 780 than in September with a 700. That's why I said to Aryan, he said okay, and I said okay, Aryan, finally what? And I said no, look, we still have time. We take the GMAT
again,
to get a 740 because yes, HEC MIF with your score, whatever, 20% chance of getting in. Okay, with 740, 60% of chance of getting in. You see the difference between causation and correlation. So there's a correlation between high GMAT, high acceptance rate. Okay.
Directly proportional.
So someone started with high GMAT compensate for other areas. Yes, it compensates. Yes, it compensates. Imagine that you have low grades.
Yeah.
Whatever, it compensates. Yeah, it compensates. Yeah, it compensates. Yeah. Of course. Yeah. It compensates. Yeah. Fortunately, I would say that you have the profile, and if there's something we need in your profile, then you can compensate by the application. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
We spoke about the impact of summer schools, right, Hubert? So that also immensely add to the application.
Yeah. No, but that's why I say there's profile and there's application. But you know, now in 1 month you're going to apply. You're going to improve your application. In 1 month, what can you do? And you can take some certificate programs, etc. But it's too late. You understand? Huh? I give you the example. I give you an example of a student. I'm going to show you Frédéric Genta.
Okay.
Or no, let's take even Maud Guillot, this girl, for instance. But let's take when you do LinkedIn, when you do Frédéric Genta. This guy, for instance, it's a funny story. You see my thing? Huh? You see?
Yeah.
This guy, he was very funny because I met him when he was probably your age, okay?
Yeah.
And he went to Harvard, okay?
Yeah.
No, he did MBA Harvard. And when he came to see me, when it was something like so he applied, he sent his application in 2008. And he came to see me when he was still at ESCP, probably in 2005, something like that, okay? And he said to me, what can I do to improve my profile? He was already older than you. Huh? He was already 24, something like that, but he wanted to go for an MBA, okay? And I told him, look, Frédéric, first you need to get a good GMAT. I believe that he didn't put his GMAT, he put his GMAT, it was a long time ago. He put his GMAT, so he scored 730, which is okay. So he scored 730.
Yeah.
So first he came to MBA Center, he scored 730. Then after that, he told me, so what do I do now? And I said, look, you're too French, you see? The guy was from France. He worked for Nicolas. Okay, by the way, I did Lehman Brothers, it was not too bad. Okay, he worked for Nicolas, State General, French, okay? Then I said, you have to go abroad. And then he said, okay, I'm going to start a job with Orange. He was in Paris, okay? Okay, he started, and I said, you have to be more international. And then he has to be moved, but you know, in a big company like Orange is the former national telecom company in France, okay? And he was moved to London, okay? So it means that when you applied, he had 730, he already had a master from ESCP. He was already international because he had spent 2 years in Orange, and he already had he had an international job in terms of strategy, general manager, so it was not too bad. Huh? You understand? So basically, my impact has been to bring him to 730, write good applications, and tell him that he should move France and work abroad. So all that, of course, was great. Without that, he would have never been accepted to Harvard. Okay, and yes, and it's funny. You know, there's a Maharaja in Monaco. His name is Prince Albert. I'm sure that you have known. You see where Monaco is. Okay, he was recommended by the King of Monaco, the Prince of Monaco, because the King of Monaco is the French president. People ignore, but the French president is the king of 3 countries, and he's his prince. Okay. So then basically, and now he's a minister, he's member of the government of Monaco. So he has a very high position. He's number 2 or 3. The guy is only 42, 43 years old, and he's already a member of the government, like number 2 or 3. And the GNP of Monaco is 100 billion euros. Which means it's not bad. Okay. So basically, you understand. So we did early. So I advised him to improve his profile in 2005. Okay.
Yep.
And then improve the profile. So he worked for a big company, he went abroad, got a good GMAT, etc., etc., etc. You understand how to do, how it works?
Yeah. Certainly, I certainly understand, but a lot of folks
Yeah.
are.
So yes, you understand, Aryan. So it's very important to improve the profile. Yeah.
Yeah.
What else have we got? Starting from 720. So 720, Calvin is a good score if you get 720. But at the same time, it always depends. If you say, for instance, you want to go for Harvard 2+2 for deferred MBA, 720. I hope that you have. It's just wow. It's a starting point. It's not outstanding 720. As I told you, 720. It's not very high. In reality, you could not be a teacher at MBA Center with a 720. You understand? Huh? You start to be good when you score 770, 780. Before that, it's pretty low. So it means that there are a lot of things that you ignore about the GMAT if you only score, but it's already a good start, of course. You need two good areas between the four, I would say. Yeah, okay. So basically, but it depends. If you target HEC or top schools or MIT, MIF, everything has to be very good. You have to be the best of university. No, but you cannot get HEC, MIT, MIF if you're not a top student. For instance, I give you an example I present. So there was this guy, for instance, Raphael, who went to MIT, MIF. Okay, this guy, Raphael Boboska. Okay, he was my student. He got 730 on the GMAT.
Okay. Yeah.
And now he's an MIT, so he got accepted to HEC, etc. He's completing an MIT, MIF, the program that you want to do. Okay,
Yeah.
so you want to go to America. So basically, UCL, he was Dean's List, 730. Voila. Okay, you understand? Huh? So it's important, but the professional experience not outstanding. Professional experience was not very good. Okay, but me when he came to see me, in October. His score was 650. I had to bring him to 730. I don't know if he put his score somewhere. He should have put his GMAT score because he got a good score. And then I work I improve him from 650 to 730, and I wrote good essays. That's it. What else could I do? You understand? Okay. But you see, the guy, he has a GPA of 5 out of 5.
Yeah.
Not bad. What do you think, Aryan? 5 out of 5. Okay. So, but don't worry. Not all our students go to Harvard or MIT. You have to see that the main destination of our students, because out of the 1,000 applicants that we have, is ESCP. About 120 go to ESCP. Then it's more like ESSEC. Then it's more like Imperial College. And of course, I would say that 20 go to very good schools, to Harvard, Wharton, Stanford MBA, Columbia, Chicago, what we call the M7. In Europe, it would be LBS, HEC, INSEAD. 200 get outstanding school, which is not bad. 20% go to outstanding schools, and the rest go to excellent schools. Okay, the number one MBA program for us in the US, it's Cornell. Okay, Cornell is a good school, but it's not Harvard. But same time, you need to have also good credentials. I'm not a magician. I can help you. You see, I can help you go up one league. Okay, for instance, it's Raphael. If he had worked on his own, he would have had ESSEC. Okay, we worked together. He got MIT. Okay, but of course, if he was a student for schema, I could not bring him to MIT. I would have brought him maybe to ESSEC. You understand? I can bring you my work. Will bring you one division higher, but not two division higher. I'm not a magician. Okay, but okay, one division higher. Maybe Aryan on his own, he would have had ESSEC. Maybe together we get HEC or MIT. Okay, so it's okay. So it was worth investing because now, okay, you need more than that, but at least for the ego, you say, okay, when I put my name, I have the number one master in my field. You understand? Okay, it's very important. So sorry, we have to go soon because we have another seminar. Okay. The other question: the extracurricular activity crucial we're getting in shortlisted? Yes, because you have to tell a story. You have to show that you have leadership. You have to tell them a story. You have to show them that you're interesting. So yes, and it's still time to do something. Okay. For the excellent advice, thank you, Arshita. Thank you, of course, Arshita. It's always nice to have a nice comment. We all love you. You're great. I'm so glad to be here today, and not to be in my swimming pool. Okay, I'm teasing you. should have but less relevance than work experience. I don't know. Yes, but so basically, I would say that yes, strangely enough, leadership activities have somehow more relevance than work experience, especially for people of your age. Now, in terms of relevance for work experience, that's why I said to Aryan, you have to have internships in the corporate finance. They want to see a logic. Yeah? Okay. For instance, let's take the example of Aryan. Well, you see, they took Raphael, we didn't have experience in investment banking, but if you say I want to be an M&A analyst, and if all your internships have not been in finance, and even less in M&A analyst, they say, but you really know what it is to be an M&A analyst. Understand? So of course, it's good to have some type of exposure to the job that you want to have, especially if the job is very demanding, like consultant for McKinsey, M&A analyst for Goldman Sachs. They say, do you understand what it is to work for Goldman Sachs, where you have to work 120 hours per week? You understand what life it is? Because many people, they don't really understand. You understand Aryan, okay? Knowing Aryan is a super hard worker, like most of you Indians. I'm so impressed by how much you work. Basically, you Indians, if you come to Europe, you're going to do very well, huh? Or in America, because you're very intelligent, you speak English very well, and you're hard worker. And Europeans and Americans are not as hard worker as you. You're more ambitious. You see, once you stay in America and you have kids, they will become like Europeans and like Americans. But today, and so you're intelligent, you do very well. You should go to Europe and America because you're good.
Hubert,
and you make good money. There's better money to make in Europe and America than in India, and especially in America. And since you're a hard worker, you see the many CEOs now are Indians origin. Huh? Many CEOs in America have Indians origin. The CEO of the biggest company in Solvay in Belgium is Indian. She's Indian, Indian origin. I'm sure that in 20 years, 50% of the CEOs of top American companies will be Indians. They will become American probably by then. They will be probably more American than Indians, but originally they will be, let's say, ethnically Indians. And then after that, they will become American. But you should do very well. You should say to your parents, I know that we Indians who are hard workers, we're intelligent, we speak well, and in Europe and in the US, we are going to do very well. Voilà.
Yeah. Hubert, that is what prompted me to, have this platform called.
That's Casto. We say, will India surpass China? Yes.
We would definitely want to.
Definitely, of course. Yes, definitely. And now, no, of course, China is stronger, but yes, India will be the #1 superpower in 2060, probably. Yes, and it's a friend of the US and of Europe, so we don't mind and we're happy. So basically, you kids, so you in 2060, you'll be close to getting retired, or probably you'll be billionaire even before that, Aryan. So you'll be an investor and a philanthrope by then. I'm sure that you'll still be busy with things, but probably different jobs. But yes, India will surpass China because of the demographics, huh? Okay? Because India has a better demographics. India is still behind, as you know, historically. China took off because of the single for two reasons. Because basically, it's a political regime that is probably stronger than a democracy. Huh? I'm not too much a fan of democracy personally. Okay, living especially in France, where it is a big, completely disorganized. I find that sometimes you need a strong power. And second of all, because India, for religious regions, decided not to implement the single child policy. Okay, and that's why you're late before China. But don't worry, in 40 years it will be it. But #1 or #2 or #3, okay, it doesn't change much for you and for all of us. Huh? We are not. It's not going to change our life. Okay, it's not going to change our life. But me, I'm moving to India. I hope that it will happen soon, and I will be let's say 9 months per year, and I'm very happy because I like India, and I find it's the #1 education market in the world. So of course, as a professor, it's very interesting to be. When you play basketball, you want to be in America. When you play tennis, you want to be in Europe. When you want to play education, you want to be in India. You want to be where there's competition, where it is interesting. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you to India, a lot of folks are gonna benefit a lot. I mean, this is the sole reason why I launched GMAT Buddy, because I wanted to connect these folks to people like you who can really guide them, because folks here are really smart, but then on being asked about their plans and roadmap, and I realized that there was no clarity of thought as to how they would get to their dream B schools. They would definitely know the big names like Harvard, Oxford, Yale, Princeton, etc., but there was no clear plan. And that's how, with your support, like I mentioned earlier, MBA Center support has been impeccable, both in my GMAT journey and in the induction of my own company. So thanks a lot, Hubert, and folks. I believe you guys would be having a lot of questions. I'm willing to schedule meetings with all of you guys, so you guys can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm dropping my email ID as well, so you guys can directly text me.
Yeah. Put the thing here. Yeah.
And my WhatsApp.
Put your phone number as well, huh?
Yeah, I've put my phone number. So that's my WhatsApp. That's my personal WhatsApp. Yeah. You guys can get in touch with me. Yeah, that's it from my end, Dr. Hubert.
Okay. So I'm very glad that we had a meeting today together. So now you have another meeting with a student who got 730. So basically was in the same situation as Aryan, but he's from Jordan. Okay, because as you know, MBA Center is a global company. So now I have the same meeting, but with my student from the Middle East. So Jordan, Lebanon, Turkey, Egypt, etc., up to United Arab Emirates. And by the way, sorry, Aryan, yeah.
Sorry to barge in, but I'm sorry to interrupt. But in like one month or maybe 40 days, we are gonna have another meeting, and by then I promise you to give you a score of 740, 750, or probably 760.
Okay, yeah, because yes, there will be a seminar. Because what will happen is that the 26th we invite LBS, HCC, INSEAD, ESSEC, Sciences Po, SENS, etc. for one-on-ones. Okay, so but we only invite our students that are at least preparing the GMAT. Okay, but we don't want someone who is just like this. We want people like Aryan, people who are really preparing, like, I don't know, what do I mean, Yash, for instance, with a student with us. So basically, students who are really on the verge of starting an interesting profile. Anyway, we pre-select people before the interviews. You can imagine HEC, they want to meet only strong candidates. Same thing applies to ESSEC. By the way, ESSEC is a school that is picking up. Don't underestimate ESSEC. ESSEC, I find, is very in finance, in your field, is very good. It's a very good school, very, very good school. And especially ESSEC, what is good for you Indians is that they have a campus in Singapore. Okay? Yeah. And I know that you love Singapore. So Indians love Singapore. Okay, have a good day, everybody. I have another seminar now with my student from the Middle East. Good day. Thank you. Bye-bye.